So what I wanted to do, the reason I put together this LTI Showcase, LTI obviously built this idea of building your own awesome, having integrations that work across services and sites. The educational experience is not about software, right? It's not about using software for the sake of software. It's about improving the learning experience. And we've spent a lot of time working with the groups that use LTI and working with people implementing LTI to make sure that people understand that. And as they're building integrations with Canvas, we're doing it in a seamless way. So it doesn't feel like I start in Canvas and then I go to this other tool and then I go to this other tool and they're unrelated. We want it to be a cohesive experience. And that's the opportunity that we have with something like LTI. Is to make that happen. So we've done a bunch. I mean, I've done a webinar. We talked a bunch about best practices. We have a course that teaches you how to leverage LTI. If people are interested in that, go to instructure.github.com. There's a link to that course. It'll actually get you up to speed very quickly on how to use LTI, and you can get a Mozilla badge in the process. So, woohoo! That was supposed to be a higher pitched woohoo, but that's all I got. So, thank you. That was it. That's what I was shooting for. So there's a lot of best practices around building good LTI tools, but at the end of the day, a lot of it is around intuition. It's about thinking about the end user rather than the tool, and it's thinking about how can we build an integration that gets rid of that barrier. These walls between products should be permeable. And so what I wanted to do here in this showcase, I want to show you guys some of the possibilities that are available with LTI, so some of the neat extensions that we've added that take it a step farther and allow really creative solutions to happen inside of Canvas with LTI integrations, but then also show you some examples of best practices. So we've picked some apps that work well with Canvas using LTI. There are some other groups that are going to show things as well. And the idea here is to help seed creativity and also show people the right way, hopefully, the right way to build integrations with Canvas. So we're just going to go through a bunch of people talking about a bunch of stuff, and we're going to jam. If you have any questions, let's save them to the end. What we're going to do, so we have somebody in the back who's watching the time. This is for you guys, by the way. If they hold up the 10-minute sign, that means you need to talk faster because we're almost done. If they hold up the 5-minute sign, then that means I'm sorry, we need to stop so that we can give people time to answer questions. Everybody cool with that? Please don't take more than 2 or 3 minutes to talk about it because we got a bunch of stuff to show. So let's go for it. So the first thing that I want to show you guys, you all, is, I got told I'm not supposed to say guys, I'm supposed to say all, so apologies to everyone that is offended by guys. You all. I'm working on it. I'm trying to improve myself. So one of the ones that I want to show is actually one of the winners of the LTI App Bounty. Is a product called Cloudtime. This is a pretty nerdy one, but it's actually pretty slick. What Cloudtime does is it allows a teacher to set up a bunch of Amazon instances. So Amazon, EC2, AWS, it's a service that allows you to run in the cloud. Most of what we consider the cloud actually runs in Amazon. And the nice thing there is it's the same thing that we use actually for Canvas. Auto-provisioning means that you can scale up and down servers as needed. So you don't have to pay a data center or a colo to run your server all the time. You can spin it up, do your computations, and spin it down, and save a ton of money that way. And then they just get economies of scale from that. So what Cloudtime does is it allows a teacher to set up a bunch of Amazon instances on behalf of their students. So this is an LTI app you're seeing right here. I launched it from inside of my course, and then what I can do is I can come over here and I can see, all right, these are all of the Amazon instances that I have set up for the course. I can add new ones based on an Amazon image ID. Basically what this lets you do is pick a pre-set up server. So you don't have to start from scratch. You can have something that's already provisioned. And so you can add a bunch of these, and then when you go to the instances, you can actually assign these to students. So you can say this instance right here, I'm going to go ahead and this little squished interface is a little rough on me, but we'll survive. Best practice is not to have a squished interface, by the way. We can actually scroll down. That's too bad. Can't see it. If I had a little bit of a bigger screen, I wonder if I can zoom out and this will work. There we go. I can start assigning these instances to students. So all the students who are part of the course, I can go ahead and, this instance, I'm going to give it to this student. And then when the student goes in, they can actually see the information that they need to provision the account. So they're going to get all the access keys. They'll get the same information. So that then they can access it. They can do whatever computation they're doing. And then when they're done, they can spin it back down. So it's all in the teacher's control. A lot of times, Amazon will provide free micro instances to institutions because they actually like people to use Amazon. Go figure. And if they can get the students, then they'll grow into entrepreneurs and use Amazon forever. That's their idea. So this is a really valuable tool, and it's actually pretty slick for things like programming classes and development sources. So that's the first one that I wanted to show you guys. You all. Dang it, I did it again. It's going to take work. The next one I want to show you all, I'm showing off all the nerd stuff. There's a tool called Code Embed that somebody wrote. This is also a winner of the App Bounty. This essentially lets you drop in snippets of programming code into any learning resource inside of Canvas. So all you do to create these, you're going to add content to your course modules, and when you go to External Tool, one of the options will be this Code Embed tool. And when you add it, since it hasn't been set up yet, when you first go to it, what you'll see is a setup view that will allow me as a teacher to set up all the configuration. I can put in whatever code I want. I can pick languages and it'll do syntax highlighting. I can say whether or not we're going to have the gutter on the side or not. I can pick different themes for the code highlighting. And then once I click embed this code, that's what students will see. So I can set up a nice little learning resource with comments and everything, and I can share that with students. So again, it's a nice, very lightweight little LTI app that can be beneficial for lots of people. Next, I'm going to switch over to Brad and let him talk about some of the other apps that we've got.
Hey everyone. So we've been working on new ways to expand the way that tools can interact with Canvas. And so one of the things that I wanted to show off here is in assignments, we've created a new way for users to interact with the assignment. And so I've created an assignment here called Online Submission. It's a standard Canvas assignment as opposed to being an LTI assignment. But we have, let's see, sorry, the screen's hurting me too. Let's see, there we go. So, but I've enabled this to be an online submission so that the student can submit files, upload files like a paper or something like that. Or we can also enable website URLs. And we've created an LTI extension for Canvas that allows students to take advantage of this. So now if I log in as a student, and I go to my assignment, and I go to submit it, just like a regular assignment. I've got the regular options, but now we have this More tab, and we have added a Dropbox tool here. So now it sends me over to Dropbox, and I log into my Dropbox account. And here's my files on my Dropbox account in the cloud. And so now I can go ahead and navigate through here and pick something that I want to submit for my assignment. And here I go. And I can, write some comments to my teacher. And go ahead and submit that. And then that's going to get submitted just like a standard Canvas assignment. If we go back to the teacher's view now, they will see that embedded in line with just as if the student had uploaded the PDF. This could be used, obviously it can be used for cloud storage solutions like Dropbox or SkyDrive or other mechanisms of storing that stuff, but it could also be used to dynamically create content on the fly for a student to submit. And like I said, it can accept URLs and things so we can link out to content that the student had submitted. So this is one of the new ways that we are extending Canvas even further with LTI, trying to provide that richer experience.
Hopefully that one got some creative juices flowing, because that's actually really slick, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. The next one is also actually a very creative one that I want to talk a little bit. Well, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to have Jonathan Briggs talk about his app that he's written called Avatari.
Hi, so I'm Jonathan Briggs. I'm the tech director and a teacher at Eastside Prep, which is a 5th through 12th grade school in Kirkland, Washington. And we had a bunch of teachers in our 7th grade do an integrated research project, and they've been noticing over the years that as this project gets, it's like a 5-week project, and for 7th graders that's forever. And so they were looking at ways to increase engagement during the sort of middle part that no one liked to go through. So they came up with this idea of having avatars that you could dress with various items as you got points along this research project. And we were going to start doing this in Photoshop and layering, and someone in the back room would be like layering images and sending them back to kids. But at the same time, we were doing LTI for other stuff at our school, so we decided to build an LTI app, which we call Avatari. So since this is tech track, I can talk about the fun stuff. It automatically creates an account when you click on the button from Canvas, so we didn't have to pre-populate any accounts in this external tool. That was a fun integration. Once you arrive there, you get this sort of blank avatar, which is just sort of a head and some hands, and you start out with $30 worth of points. And then you can buy stuff. And what's great about this is that when we started building this thing, these teachers, someone commissioned a local artist to do the initial avatar. And then we actually had our high school students building SVG images for our middle school students at the same schools, which was a lot of fun. So the tech behind this thing, so you can see all the images. We only did about 12 of them or so. The tech behind it is pretty cool. So we store all these SVG, which is a scalable vector graphic. It's basically instructions on how to draw the lines for the avatar. We store them all in the database, and then when we render the image, we just put them all in line and basically are instructing the browser how to draw these, which means you can actually zoom way, way in, and they're really high resolution. But that's not why we did it that way. As we go through, students buy various items. They can sell them back if they don't like them at a reduced rate. We're teaching real-world skills here. And they can choose what they're wearing and what they're not wearing, and they get sort of a sum total of what their wardrobe value is. So they open a $30 chest, they might get a $45 item, and we have some code in there so that they can't actually get $45 items and sell them back for more than $30. And it's just been a really fun app to do. So we posted it up to GitHub, completely open for you guys to do whatever you want with. It's very much just a proof of concept. There's no security model. I can't show it to you live here because we have it behind our firewall because some of our more tech advanced 7th graders started banging on it at home, trying to give themselves more money. And, and then their avatars wouldn't render because they had somehow put an item on that didn't exist in the database. But feel free to go check it out, and if you want to contribute, we'd love to have contributors. It'd be fun to have this be sort of a bigger project, and I'm also happy to help anyone get started with LTIs themselves. Thanks.
Thanks, Jonathan. The next thing that we're going to show you guys, you all, dang it, I'm going to get it. The next thing we want to show you all is I talked about best practices. There are best practices in user experience. There are also best practices in development. So we had one of our engineers put together a lightweight LTI app to show off some of the state-of-the-art usage of technology and front-end JavaScript and things that we can use to build a nice, elegant application. So I'm going to have Eric come talk about his for just a second. Actually, hang on just a second. I don't want you to be a student. I want you to be a teacher. There you go.
Okay, so I can add the tool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a very simple LTI tool that would demonstrate how to create actually, it's probably easier if I just show you. Sorry, I got to hunch down to look at it. So if I go into, is it just, I am here. Oh, okay. All right. So one of the tools that we have here is Vimeo. And you probably all know what Vimeo is. It is like YouTube, but the main difference is it doesn't have ads, and it's a little bit higher quality, and we like it. So the tool that we have here, if I hit Add Tool, and there is no configuration, you just hit Submit, and it adds, and now I can go straight into an announcement and make an announcement. What it did was it added this icon right here. And the experience just a little bit for the geeks in the room. This is a Sinatra app, very lightweight, with about 3 actions on it, with an Ember front end. And it's using a gem that Zach Pendleton wrote called Rack LTI, which makes it extremely simple to write an LTI app using Sinatra. The source code is available on GitHub. Anyway, and you can get the link on the source code at edu-apps.org and look at that. So really simply, if I do a search for Instructure, do a search, you can see it does go out and grab it. Now all of this is a single page application here. So if I do that, and that was released really recently here, so you can preview the video, and you can get the video information down below, and then hit embed video, and that will turn around and embed it right into your discussion or announcement or whatever. So if I hit save, again, it's not groundbreaking code, but it is a pretty good example in my view. Of course, it doesn't work. I'm gonna blame that one on the internet, maybe. Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's it.
So like Eric said, the source code's available. It's part of the description if you want to go look at it and get some ideas. There are a lot of really lightweight LTI apps that can be built like that around content selection that I would love to see start to come forth. Next, I want to have Fred Dixon come up and talk a little bit about their Big Blue Button LTI app that they wrote.
Actually, I had a session this morning on Big Blue Button, so why don't I just give the time over to the other folks?
Okay, great.
All right, 30 seconds.
Super quick.
Yes, a Big Blue Button.
Super quick.
Yeah. So down to modules?
Go to modules, yeah.
Okay. All right, so Instructure has a really nice integration with Big Blue Button already, but now with LTI, we can actually do even simpler integration. So here's a link. If I click on it, I'm in Big Blue Button. That's it. So I came in with the role, presumably if I'm a teacher, I come in as teacher. If your students come in that link, they come in as viewer. That's how easy it is to use Big Blue Button. Thanks.
Magical. See, that's the kind of stuff that I love to see happen, where it's just this seamless integration. Nobody had to think, wait a minute, am I in Big Blue Button or am I in Canvas? It's just the link was right there, you launch it and you're good to go. That's the sort of best practices that hopefully we can start to see more of. There's some of that out there in the space, and quite frankly, there's some LTI apps that really don't get this idea at all. And so hopefully we can start to improve that over time. What? So the Big Blue Button one, you're going to need a relationship with somebody to get that set up. It needs a key and a secret. The Vimeo one's free. A lot of them are free. The ones that we've written are free, and you just drop them right in. The next one I want to show you all. Yes. Progress. I'm not a lost cause after all. I've written a couple LTI apps to show some of the ways that we can tie in and add functionality to Canvas in essentially like mini feature sort of ways. So one of them that I wrote was a feature called Feed to Me, which is a feed aggregator. So it allows you to add course navigation to your course that will then show a bunch of feeds all aggregated together. And students can optionally add their own feeds if they want, and then they can actually turn in homework from their feed as well, using the same idea that Brad showed earlier. Another one is Canva badges. If you're interested in badges in Mozilla, come talk to me. This is in beta right now, but it's actually starting to get used a little bit. And essentially it makes it easy for you to award badges to students semi-automatically based on their progress through modules and their final grade in a course. But let me show you the feed one just real quick so you get an idea. And then I'm going to let these lined up guys do their thing. So this was a course navigation one. You can see we just clicked the link right here and it launched. There's not a ton of Chrome inside of the app. I didn't have to brand it myself and put a whole bunch of my own navigation and things in here. The mini app feel is very nice for this. And And we need more apps to have this sort of an approach where I don't need to have all of my own branding. I'm not saying don't brand your app because I think that's important for you as a company or organization. But when people see left nav and then another left nav and they see top nav and another top nav, it's a bad experience. It's a bad user experience. It's just confusing and it makes things difficult. So if you need really advanced stuff, maybe you need to pop them out into a new window. Because when they're here in line, they want this to feel like, users want this to feel like it's part of the Canvas experience. But then I can go ahead and add new feeds here. I can see the feeds that are all listed right here. Like I said, I can churn in homework directly from the personal feeds that I've added. And this is just a lightweight example of some of the things that we can do to add functionality and flexibility to Canvas using LTI. So that's the stuff I wanted to show off. I'm going to go ahead and let these all... They are all guys, actually. So I'm okay. Oh, defrost. Let's start with course eval because I've got that one set up already, and then we're just going to work through the list, and I'll let you all take a couple minutes.
Thanks. Good morning. I'm Brian Hopewell. This will take 50 seconds. This sort of a public service announcement. You may or may not know that there is a course set up for InstructureCon 13. It's in your booklet here, and it's to be used to evaluate or give feedback to your session presenters. If you go to your course, here you'll see evaluate sessions. And what this will bring up is the course eval LTI tool for Canvas. It's typically used for end of course or middle of course or non-course evaluations. Canvas has 2 or 3 partners in this area. The course eval session sort of application is one. It's also on the app page. I don't know that a lot of folks are doing this yet, but for the benefit of your presenters, it's a very simple tool. There's just a couple of questions there. If in your campus or your school you decide you wanted to use course eval, you can design your own content, of course, for all kinds of things. And I'm sorry? Do I want to go and click it? See what happens. Okay. No. Click twice. Okay, what happens then? Scroll. This is the Mac. Oh, well, never mind.
Oh, that's probably actually my mistake. Sorry.
No worries. Well,
this is bad marketing for you.
This is terrific. It really works incredibly well. But do your presenters and yourselves a big favor. Give them the feedback that they deserve. Thank you very much.
So as we get set up, I'll keep talking. This morning we heard in our keynote about badges, and I'm also working on a project that supports badging, and I guess I'm still on the wrong video. Oh, are you guys going to switch the video? Oh, there we go. So very quickly, this is our test environment. As you can see, what we've added is a badges button over here. Right now I'm in as an instructor or a teacher. What happens is when I click on my badges button, it actually is going to pull back the modules in the course and the assignment data, and it will allow me to then select assignment. Which one do I want to assign a badge to? We've got 2 badges right now, a gold and silver badge. We pick the badge that we want to give it to. We can set up minimum points. So for the silver badge, it might be 20 points to 25 points, and then you just add the badge. So down here we have an inventory of badges that we've awarded that are available in our system. So essentially what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over as a student. Here I am as another student, and I have the same badge interface. I click on badges, and now it will go in, look at the assessments, pull that back, and says, bam, you were awarded a badge. And at this point, you would click on this. This is alpha. This was coded last night. What you're going to be doing is clicking on this, and it will add it to your backpack. And so what we do is we also add another LTI integration to show your badges in your backpack. And then this will pull up my Mozilla backpack. These are really gimpy, okay? But there's my American College Education badges. We have we also have the ability to show where your authentication is. And let me just show you one more. Go back to here. And if I go to my backpack, one of the other things we're pulling through the LTI is when it comes down to this is my backpack on Mozilla, so we're completely Mozilla compatible. I can click on here, go right back to my course. I can get the criteria on the badge. This would be sitting on your public server on your college's website, and it shows what this would also be an opportunity for you to advertise about your courses, and you can actually go to the evidence, which would bring you into the course itself. That's it. If you're interested, let me know.
Open Tapestry is an online platform that helps organizations teach and learn using the open web. We have indexes that contain hundreds of thousands of open licensed resources. We let you search into many other indexes. We have over hundreds of open licensed courses. Within 30 seconds, you can make a copy of one of those and publish it directly into Canvas. You can then mash it up. Video? Do I need to do something to get this transferred? Switch? Okay.
I'm so impressed we made it this far without any GA issues.
Is it because
Thunderbolt, you can just
this is probably overriding it?
Okay. So here you're inside of Canvas. Anywhere there's an edit, you can add content that you've curated inside of Open Tapestry via the LTI directly in as items inside of modules. You can add whole sequences and hierarchies of content. Here it's showing these collections of content that I've organized and gathered from the web inside of Open Tapestry. Similar to Pinterest, we have a bookmark that anywhere you're on the web, you can bookmark pages, grab content, snippets, images, videos, applets, flash out of any web page, bring it in. You can see we've got here inside of Canvas now, here's a page I've gathered. You can organize it into hierarchies and sequences. You can edit these pages. You can take an existing web page, delete content out of it, drop a video or quiz into it, and then publish it inside of here. And so we've got LTI integration through the sidebar links, through in the editor, under modules, anywhere you can put learning content, it's there. OpenTapestry.com, the site, you can go sign up for free, use it, and give us feedback. Thanks.
If you have a mobile connection and want to get kind of follow along, you can go to questionpress.com/James. It's kind of a classroom audience response participation system. You don't have to, obviously. It's questionpress.com/James, and if I can get this up here, you can see it. Is it not? Are we not connected?
We can maybe we'll show it on after. I think I want to leave a little time
Okay.
for questions, so maybe we'll come up.
Sure, that's fine. Oops, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's actually really cool, so you should definitely see it. But I wanted to wrap up. I want to make sure we have time for questions if anybody has any. First thing I want to do before I do that, though, is plug my monitor back in. If you are interested in building LTI apps, or if you are interested in participating in the LTI development community, by the way, nobody tweet the thing that I'm about to say next, okay? The actual official LTI docs from IMS kind of suck. So we provide a lot of resources that make it easy for you to get started and get going in learning LTI. If you go to instructure.github.com, it'll redirect you to .io for whatever reason. But there's resources there on the Canvas API, and more importantly, there's resources there on LTI. It includes links to a course that we have to get you up to speed on how to build LTI yourself. It includes links to our app directory, which actually has some really nice intro docs. We want people to build LTI. The roadmap session that Zach Wiley and Mitch McFarland just did, they talked about the fact that we are building on LTI ourselves. So this is a great platform, and there's a lot of flexibility that you can use as you leverage this. And so if you have an idea, hopefully you got some creative juices flowing from the things that people said here today, definitely talk to us, ask us questions, get involved in the community, because we would love your help. All right, question time. Any questions? Yeah.
There's several things that I was curious, like where would I get that other than developing something like it ourselves?
Where would you?
Is there a central location for a couple of things that were presented today that we go from the LTI?
So you want to? The question was, you want to? This stuff all sounded cool. You want to see where you can find it and use it in your institution? The App Center that we just announced this morning has or is about to have all of those apps. You can also go to edu-apps.org, which is the same data, and you can get a list of all of those there as well. Except Avatari. You have to go to actually GitHub for his. But I think there's a link to it inside of the course, the LTI Dev course. Any other questions? Yeah?
So we're the ones that did the SWORD peer review LTI app, and it seemed to us from the start that it was very important, very fundamental that we did grade passback. And that was definitely the hardest module or part of the implementation. And when we got done, the reaction we got surprised us a little. It was almost as if you guys were saying, "Oh, it's great." Is grade passback not that common amongst these LTI apps? Where is that? I mean, the LTI apps you've got, how many are passing grades back?
Okay, so the question was, grade passback, SWORD, they did a peer review thing, spent a ton of time on it. It's really nice, and we made it sound like it was like maybe the first time anybody had ever done that. It is really rare for people to do a grade passback right now because it is a little bit more complicated. If you're just doing content selection, you don't need it, but honestly, we're getting to the point now where we're starting to see more of that happen. It was like the first round of LTIs were all about just displaying content, and now a lot of people are saying, no, it needs to tie into the gradebook and assessments, and so people are going back and revisiting their LTI apps and adding that in. So if you're curious about grade passback, there's links and things inside of the LTI Dev course.
Is there any chance that you'll give the LTI app more real estate? You talked about us not taking control, but what about giving us more space?
So the question was, we're hogging a lot of space when people launch LTI apps. Is there any chance to get more space? And yes, that is something we're working on. Part of the change to navigation that we talked about in the roadmap session is the fact that we need to provide more real estate for LTI apps so that they can still be part of the Canvas experience without having to be 30 pixels wide. So we'll continue to work on that. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, there's some great LTI experts up here. If anybody wants to come chat or find out more about any of these, feel free to come up. Thank you all for your time.